Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Magical Monday Musing. We are moving our way right into April, so this is for the week of April 6th, I believe it is. Yeah, April 6th. So we're chugging right along into our springtime and wondering how you all did with celebration last week. And our bows continuing to, working with our bows and our wands last week. I know for me I was one of those people. It's really interesting channeling the messages for us as a collective and me being a part of it, because oftentimes when the messages are coming through, I have a sense of, okay, I know this one is for me. Yep, I'm going to get this one this week. And so it definitely was that kind of week of the challenging myself to not be all work and no play. So I'm curious how you all did with that too. If you found yourself able to celebrate your achievements, your successes, and the things that you've accomplished, and just basically celebrating you as well as life. And hopefully where you live in the world, there was some nice weather. I find I tend to be so connected to the weather systems, and the patterns really make a difference in our moods, right? So the sun can really make a difference, and we did see some beautiful sunshine and some warmer temperatures here. And there's, as I like to joke with my son Nico and say, there's patches of dead grass. It's so exciting, you know, as opposed to dirty white snow. So it's been a great week for upliftment. And I know myself, I had to literally unplug one day and just take like a half-day retreat and just do the things I knew I needed to do to nourish myself. I've got a lot of deadlines that are intense, and when I have too many deadlines, I can feel that I need to take extra good self-care and do the things I know that will help to balance out the effort that needs to be put out. So I found myself in this week where we had permission to take a step back and relax, being pressured with the challenges of knowing there are things that I have to do, and managing and balancing and finding that dance between the joyful and the nose to the grindstone. So I hope you all had a chance and created opportunities to let yourself really experience some of that, ride that wave that we had available to us with the cards last week. So this week we are moving in a different direction. And I don't think we've picked this card in some time, probably not in the format of working on video. So we have another new energy, a very potent energy to work with this week. And the cards do reflect each other definitely this week. So this is one of my all-time favorite cards. I love when we pick this card. This card to me is it's one of, I guess, it's become a personal guide as much as one that we'll work with together. Whenever I get this card, it's a great reinforcement of certain qualities that are really good for us all to foster and really hone. So after our meditation, we'll really get into and unpack what this archetype and what the energies are this week. So why don't we go ahead and get ourselves settled in? We'll set our intentions for this week, and we'll dive into our cards and see what teachings and who our guidance is going to be for this week. So as always, I invite you to bring yourself into a comfortable position, whether that is reclining or in a seated position, and allow yourself to take 3 deep breaths in and out at your own pace. Letting each breath allow you to arrive in this moment a little bit more. Bringing yourself with the use of the breath into your body, into your present moment awareness, settling in and relaxing. Knowing that you've created this time and this place, this time and this space to open to spirit, to deepening your spiritual path with awareness, conscious intention, and purpose. That you're doing something profound for yourself and your personal and even your worldly community, just by showing up authentically in this day. So allow yourself to continue to deepen into the body, relaxing your mind, releasing any distractions or any thoughts that might take you from this experience that you're having right now. Giving yourself some thanks for this opportunity to sit with this collective Circle Magica community as we all join together, pool our energies for not only our personal but greater good. And with that, let's invite in those on the other side of the veil that are as much as part of our community as we are. So the grounded presence of Mother Earth, the sky and star beings, inviting in the lower, the middle, and the upper worlds, and all of our spirit allies and teachers that work with us in those realms. The four directions and elements of earth and north, and air and east, and fire and south, and water and west. Inviting in ancestors, loved ones, and friends in spirit who wish to contribute in a positive way. And calling on the angelic realms, the light beings, ascended masters, those that know us and understand how best to influence and show us what we need to experience, see, and feel this week. Inviting in our own higher and deeper wisdom as we set our intentions for what we would like to receive, and also what we would like to give and how we'd like to be this week. And so calling on the archetypes and the energies of the cards themselves to lead the way and to bring us insights and opportunities that will help us. So mote it be. So I invite you back now as we begin to explore who our teachers and our leaders are this week. And so this week we have collectively decided to work with one of the major arcana cards, or arcana cards, and we are working with the energy of the sevens this week. And in the Wildwood Tarot, that equates to one of my all-time favorite cards, the Archer. And in the Rider-Waite Tarot, that equals or corresponds with the Chariot. And these two cards do have a similar energies and descriptions and purposes for us this week. So to begin with, let's talk a little bit about the energy of seven. And because we're working with the major arcana cards, we know that the energies and the representations, the archetypes are big, major arcana. So the energy is even bigger than it would be, say, in one of the suits. At least I perceive it to be that way. So the energies of seven have to do with overcoming obstacles or obstructions in our paths, or having them and being able to transform and overcome them. So it's got a sense of momentum and purpose, and sort of like the outcome is going to be there for us because we will have the tools we need to overcome anything that would confront us or seem to be as an obstruction or something that is in our way, so to speak. So that's part of the energy of seven. Seven traditionally also can represent victory or achievement. It also represents, when you look at what the numbers that go into making up 7. So if you were to break it down, the 3 and the 4, the 3 represents the divine. You know, think about Holy Trinity. There's a lot of 3. The 3 in, doesn't matter, every religion has connections with 3 that are that speak to the divine, the higher divine. And then 4 represents the energy of matter. And interestingly enough, last week we had the 4s. Remember, we talked about the 4 paws on a feline and the 4 legs on a table. So that matter, that stability with the 3, the divinity, creates the 7. So it's a combination of the 2 energies together. 7s can also have to do with where we are building a momentum towards an objective. So we have some steam, you know, we're moving ahead towards an objective, an achievement, a goal of some kind. And so for us this week, we're going to take that energy of 7 and how it plays out with the Chariot and the Archer is very much about taking our tools and our resources and our intentions and harnessing them. When you look at the pictures of the cards, the Wildwood Tarot's Archer and the Chariot, the Rider-Waite's Chariot, you can see those are active pictures. Those images have a lot of energy, a lot of action to them. And we're definitely dealing with harnessing talents, the mental state, emotions, and channeling them so that they can, so that we will be able to, like with the Archer, take the aim to get to the target that we're wanting. We are dealing with patience, you know, you're in managing. It doesn't matter, again, this can be in any aspect of your life, but managing, you know, the power, right? Harnessing, because you think about the reins of the Chariot, even though in the Rider-Waite card you won't see reins, but you see forces that have to be managed, right? So your forces need to be managed. You have to understand about timing, because think about the Archer, and there's a cunningness, there's an ability to with the Archer, you know, we're talking about being able to, you're dealing with the hunt, so metaphorically you're dealing with the acquisition of the thing, right? You know, with the hunt, it's about understanding the prey. Metaphorically, we could say that, you know, another way to translate that could be you understanding what it is that you need to get what you want. And to be able to have the tools like the bow and the arrow, or, you know, harnessing the that which will pull forth that Chariot, those tools and resources to get you what it is that you're seeking. So I'm just going to switch over now into intuitive mode. And I feel this is, it might not be across the board, but the majority of you who are listening this week are going to resonate with the aspect of being able to first identify your strengths, your skills, the suits of talents that you have. And because I feel like some of you are working consciously, or it's starting to bubble up with the time of year that we're experiencing, and we're working with, you know, planting seeds, right? In the spring, when we work with the wheel of the year, you know, we're working with the seasons, and what each season presents to us has not only a teaching, but a distinct blueprint and personality that we can work with. So planting your seeds and wanting to have the greatest harvest. So when we're talking about the Archer and the Chariot, we're talking about the idea that you need to be able to give those seeds the best possible nourishment and feedings, which means you having a sense of your skills, your talents, your abilities. The bow, the arrow, right? The reins, the creatures pulling, the chariot itself, and how will you manage and maneuver them in concrete ways with skill, precision, determination. There's a lot about determination in this card, persistence, sticking with it, and knowing that, you know, it may require time, patience in order to achieve that thing. So this is one of those cards where, you know, we can really, get fed with perseverance, but it also is an active card. So it's an action-taking card, even if the action is just about, first of all, if not only taking stock of the skills that we have, but also how are we going to use them? You know, what is the plan to acquire the thing or the things that you're wanting? And what is it that you need to do or invest in terms of, you know, pulling back that arrow? Like, what is it that is going to give you ultimately that end result that you're wanting? So this could require some thinking on your part, but I see lots of you that are in that place of, you know, sort of pondering that exact thing. Like, I know what I want, I'm not exactly sure, like, you know, what do I have back here that can get me there? And then sometimes it could be like, well, I know I'm good at this, but I don't know how to get there. So there's that gap of the understanding of the how. Well, what I would say to you if you're in that place is really working with Spirit, because I often say you don't have to know the how, you just have to know the what. So let Spirit really partner with you this week through dreams, through you. You remember a few weeks back I talked about the Opening to Channel book. If some of you are working with that, if you aren't working with it, then maybe this week you will pick that up and start working with it. You know, always, I suppose my suggestion is going to be for you to continue to develop ongoing and deepening your relationships with not only these archetypes, but with all the guidance that we bring in every week to assist us. I am in the process of putting together, and this will take a little bit of time, but I am going to keep mentioning it because if you don't know how to do it yet, I am going to be fully supporting you in helping you to learn how to shamanic journey, because I find that is it's a go-to tool. You know, it's like one of the primary go-to tools that everybody should have, because once you learn how to do it, it's so easy and so much comes from it. It's such a rich partnership that you can develop with your power, totem, spirit allies. So go into meditation and ask them to work with you, to help you, to, you know, get clear on what if you need clarity on your what's, and also, you know, what is the next step I take? Start unfolding the how for me so I understand what I need to do. The other thing I want to say is there's faith. Spirit is telling me to use the word faith this week. Having faith in yourself and having faith in the process of unfoldment. You know, there's some of us in the community that, and we probably all fall into this trap, if you will, from time to time of, you know, we want to see it all laid out before we take step one, right? And it's a good idea to have a map, but also know that you may have a big picture, but then when it comes to taking the steps, you do that in faith, and you do that understanding that oftentimes the resources and people, places, and things will appear as you make the commitment to the thing, right? So make the commitment to the thing. Then watch how it unfolds for you, because it can be, that's where you invite the magic into your life of synchronicity, coincidence, of these just wonderful introductions that Spirit wants to make to help you create flow and abundance and joy and proper demonstration of purpose in your life. So I would encourage you to settle in and consider those points this week, because those are going to be important for you. The Archer is just one that has like such an intensity. And when you look at the picture, the Wildwood Tarot picture this week, when I look at her, there's no doubt in my mind she's going to nail whatever it is that she aims at. There's just this feeling of command. She's very commanding. And how is it that we can embody that within ourselves? Where are we able to be in command of our presence? And if we aren't feeling a lot of that right now, all it really means is settling into self, finding in your heart space that place where you know your power lives. Some philosophies would see it in the solar plexus. That's another power center, or even some would say below the belly button, the hara. Why don't you feel into your body this week and see where your power resides? Tune into your physical being and see where you feel your archer or where the chariot pulls from. Because I feel with some of you, there is some aligning to do with purpose and with really understanding what your purpose is. I feel like some of you have a sense of confusion about that this week is coming up. And this would be a great week for you to, write about and ask Spirit, do some meditations around your purpose. So these cards are definitely linked to purpose. And taking stock of what your skills are. I feel some of you are ready to change directions or to say if you're not living what you believe your purpose is to be or is, where within that, where within what the archer has to offer in the chariot, can you find a sense of your true self, even if that feels like the case? And where can you do a meditation or where can you invite the archer in to start to show you what direction to shoot into, So for some of us, the action could be more of an inner action this week than an external one. And it doesn't matter. It's all equally important. It all has value because it's all helping you to discern your truth and direction so that you can really live fully this life, and be fully embodied in your life. And so it's those epiphanies that can come in just a moment when you're really asking honestly and in that place of being willing to listen and helping yourself to create time where you will lessen distractions around you so you can really hear what wants to come through or feel it. Some of us feel truth in our bodies. Some of us hear messages from Spirit or from our higher self or our inner, deeper, wise, inner sage being, whatever way you want to describe it. So how does that show up for you? It could be useful to explore that. See if there's anything else. The only other thing that I want to say is, for some of you, it's going to mean wrangling with the shadow that says, well, I tried that before and it didn't work. For some reason, I need to say that. There's some of you in the Circle Magica community who need to hear that. I tried being the archer. I tried stringing my bow. I tried shooting my arrow in that direction and it didn't work. Well, what's being asked of you this week is to really look at why then, if that's the case. Because maybe it was a timing thing. Maybe you shot the bow before the target had presented itself properly, or shot the arrow, excuse me. Maybe you have skills now that you didn't have then. Maybe there was impatience. Maybe you had a different set of circumstances in your life then that would have prohibited you from acquiring that goal or that achievement. So whatever the case may be about the whys of before, it's important to understand that sometimes things come back around. Remember, we always talk about the spiral as the metaphor of our spiritual development, and the spiral that it ascends and descends simultaneously. So, things come back around, but it's never the same way when we're re-experiencing a phenomenon or a stimulus. And so you are not the same as you were the last time you might have attempted or tried. So Spirit wants me to reach out to you, and those of you that are feeling that when we hear about taking aim at a goal or a dream, and understanding that it doesn't mean that it's not meant for you. It just means that maybe there's some reevaluating that you need to do, and not to, kind of put on that hat of defeat before you really look at this with eyes open. And so you don't want to shoot yourself down when, you could be poised for that thing this time. Okay? So with that being said, I hope you have a wonderful week with the sevens, the chariot, and the archer. And remember, if you have not subscribed to our Circle Magica community, you can by going to circlemagica.com/subscribe and entering your email address into our subscribe network will mean that every Monday morning you receive this video into your inbox so that you can play it as many times as you like. You can grab a cup of tea and sit down with a video on Monday morning with your journal and jot down anything that might be important that you want to pay attention to in the coming week, and look back at your notes. You also can connect with me on my Facebook page, which is Deb D'Onofrio. So hoping that y'all really get into the work this week. And as always, I love to hear from you. Getting your texts and your Facebook messages or your emails is always a delight to me. I really love to hear how these cards, the archetypes, and this work that we do every week is making a difference in your lives, because I know it's making a big difference in mine too as we all work together. So until next week, I wish you a magical and powerful week. Blessed be, my friends.